Just based on how Jordan Peele talked about his inspirations for this movie, I was definitely expecting the obvious Jaws and Close Encounters inspirations and references. But an Akira reference? Well played, Mr. Peele. Hello and welcome to the Martini Shot. My name is Brandon and today I'm going to be reviewing the 2022 sci-fi horror film, Nope. But before I do that, there's strange clouds above us, and we're gonna drink one thanks to this smoky and sweet cocktail I've named Bad Miracle. Have you ever seen something so odd, so complex, you found it hard to put into words? For me, it's Cocomelon, which I'm pretty sure is some type of government psyop. Nope is all about the unexplainable and the wonder behind it. So I wanted to come up with a cocktail with a variety of flavors that continues to change your perception of the drink over time. What I have is a smoky, sweet little cocktail that combines the distinct taste of mezcal with subtle but noticeable fruit flavors like orange and passion fruit, some slight floral notes, and a bit of vanilla, and a bubbly body made of champagne. To top it off, it comes with an ominous cloud hiding something secret inside it. It's sugar. The secret is more sugar, which you can drop into the drink itself for added sweetness. Let's get into it. So the first thing we are going to be adding is our mezcal. I chose mezcal because the setting for Nope is set in kind of a dry, dusty area, and the smokiness of the mezcal really kind of reminded me of that, and it's going to make this a very complex drink once it pairs with those fruit flavors and the floral notes and that little bit of sweetness from the vanilla we're going to be adding. So we are going to go ahead and do 1 ounce of mezcal. Next, we're going to be using something called Hypnotique. So I know, once again, another blue cocktail, but I'm not using blue curacao this time. I did kind of realize that was a very reoccurring ingredient in my drinks, and I try to make these as varied as possible. But when you want to make a drink blue, you have very little options. However, Hypnotique is a very interesting little product. It's a blend of cognac and vodka that's dyed blue, and it has some orange and passion fruit flavors that we're going to be adding here to kind of complement that smokiness, add a little bit of sweet fruit flavors to this. And we are going to be doing 1 ounce of the Hypnotique. Next, we are going to add a little bit of Creme De Violet. This is going to add a little bit of floral notes, just kind of further flesh out the complexity of this drink, and also make the blue a little bit smokier, a little bit darker, something that makes it stand out a little bit more. We are going to be doing 1/2 ounce of the Creme De Violet. And now to bring in a little bit of sweetness, we are going to be doing 1/2 ounce of a vanilla syrup. All right, now that we have most of our ingredients, we are going to go ahead and throw some ice in here, and we are going to stir to chill. And now we are going to be straining this into a coupe glass. Now we are going to be giving this a little bit of body and kind of add some bubbles to it as well with some champagne. And for this particular one, you don't have to do this, but I just happen to have this and thought it would be a good addition to this since this is already primarily alcohol right in here. But I have some non-alcoholic champagne. You really actually can't tell the difference really. And it's really a good alternative if you don't want to get too tipsy, but this will at least allow us to add a little bit of bubbles, add a little bit of body, without having to completely overdo it on the alcohol content. So the drink itself is done, but we are not quite done just yet. We need to get that garnish on there, and I thought it would be fun to make a little blue cotton candy cloud to rest right on the side. There we go. And now you truly have a Bad Miracle. All right, let's go ahead and give it a taste test. Yeah, like I said, it's a very complex drink. You do get the mezcal as kind of the forefront taste, but then it kind of subsides a little bit to a little bit of the sweetness from that vanilla. A lot of the fruit flavors too. You definitely get a lot of that passion fruit in the Hypnotique coming through. It's very approachable because of the champagne and kind of all the extra added elements. As it sits in my mouth a little bit longer, you do kind of get that violet and vanilla flavors, which those two together are a great pairing, and they work really well in this cocktail, giving this a lot of complexity, a lot of different flavors kind of going on, but it's really, really good, especially if you're not a big fan of mezcal. This makes it very approachable. You still get that smokiness that comes with it, but it doesn't have the whole bite that like a tequila would have, essentially. And I do think it kind of comes down to just all of the extra ingredients that are in there, plus that champagne makes it very light, very bubbly, very approachable, but there's a lot going on in it, and it's a very, very tasty drink. I'm very satisfied with this one. Now that we have our drink, let's jump straight into the review of Nope. If you know me personally or have had the displeasure of running into me at a bar after a few Vegas bombs, you'll know that I'm always talking about the big three directors that I believe ushered us into a horror renaissance several years ago. Those are Robert Eggers, Ari Aster, and Jordan Peele. Peele is perhaps the most commercially celebrated of the trio, making a name for himself as one half of the immensely popular skit duo Key and Peele. But in 2017, Peele shook the foundation of horror with his original, uncomfortable, and darkly humorous take on racial politics with his film Get Out. This film is wholly unique and showcased just how much Peele understood the horror genre, so much so that he won an Academy Award for Best Screenplay, a rarity for scary movies. His follow-up, Us, continued this style of socio-political horror, though this time around I do think the themes may have gone over a few people's heads, including my own. Regardless, it's still a scary good time, and I have been eagerly awaiting to see what Peele brought to the table next. You don't always get to say this, but the wait was certainly worth it. Nope is a fantastically fun experience, harkening back to the summer blockbusters of yesteryear that managed to capture our curiosity and imagination. It's a bit more straightforward than Peele's past films, which is not a negative at all, even if its themes and messages don't come out as poignant. Still, it's everything Peele is great at, bringing a perfect balance of humor and horror that's a blast to watch from beginning to end. Nope is best enjoyed knowing as little as possible, so I'll do my best to talk about the film as vaguely as I can while still giving my takes on its presentation and themes. Try to avoid those trailers too if you can. What works the best here is the sense of wonder and uncertainty. The mantra of "the scariest thing is what you don't see" gets thrown around a lot, but many times it doesn't give the audience enough room to wonder, or it just comes off as lazy. Not here though, as Peele understands how much to give and when to give it. The film is incredibly ominous in the way it plays with darkness, negative space, and the sheer implication that something is hiding just out of sight. This isn't a very visceral or graphic film, yet it still manages to be one of the more terrifying films of this year because of its expert use of tension and suspense. When the horror the characters face eventually comes to light, it's not exactly scary, and I have a theory behind that I'll get into when I talk about the themes. Every actor here brings a lot of humor and paranoia, from Get Out alumni Daniel Kaluuya to Keke Palmer to Steven Yeun. I wouldn't say the characters are as fleshed out as the ones from Peele's previous films, but they are still suitable conduits to experience the unseen threat. Kaluuya and Palmer are incredibly engaging as two siblings with different views of their place in Hollywood, considering their family business as horse wranglers. Like many other positions on a film set, are often exploited and undervalued. This is a bit of a minor theme the film touches on, but there's bigger ideas at play as well. So what's this film all about? What's it trying to say? Well, I have a few theories. My biggest one is that it's a reflection on our relationship with nature and the many ways people will exploit that. As humans, we naturally gravitate towards the grand and the otherworldly, whether it be pondering over the existence of aliens to seeing a lion at the zoo. These things can be very delicate, and when pushed too far, it can disrupt the balance of the pre-established ecosystem. Just saying, there's a reason why carnivals are moving away from live animals in their show. There has to be a certain respect for what we don't fully understand, and when that gets pushed, the consequences can be less than pleasant. That's why I think the climax plays out the way it does, and again, without spoiling anything, it presents the threat in such a visually beautiful way that it reminds you how gorgeous nature can be if given the opportunity to flourish. Of course, some habitats aren't big enough for everyone to live peacefully, and that's ultimately what the film comes to. It's definitely more pedestrian than his past work, which again, is not a bad thing. Although I do think the payoff isn't as impactful as it could have been. But even without a more nuanced theme, this is still one of the best original blockbuster films of recent years, likening back to Spielberg's work all those years ago. It's such a well-rounded film with elements that complement one another very nicely. Peele made it a point to bring people back to the theaters, and I think he succeeded. If you've been looking for an exciting experience to justify spending your money to go to the movies, look no further. For my rating, I'm giving this film 4 horses out of 5. Guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Martini Shot. If you saw Nope, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. And if you like what you saw here and would like to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me across all social media channels. Those links are down in the description below. And if you'd like to see more movie reviews and movie-themed cocktails, be sure to check out my website, martinishot.blog. Until next time, thank you again for watching. I will see you in the next one. Live deliciously, but please remember, drink responsibly.